The night it all began didn't feel like a warning. It felt normal. Too normal. My name is Samantha Reeves. Sam, to everyone who thinks they know me. And up until this moment, I truly believed my marriage was steady, boring, in a good way, safe. If only I'd known what was coming. Jason and I were curled up on the couch, warm blankets, low lights, some cheesy wedding show flickering on the TV. The kind of cozy evening that tricks you into thinking nothing bad could ever touch your life. I was sipping chamomile tea when his phone buzzed on the coffee table. He didn't reach for it, didn't flinch, didn't even glance down. That alone was strange. Jason always checked his notifications, especially when it involved his precious family. But tonight, silence. I leaned back, teasing lightly. Wedding planning group again? He forced a laugh. Just work stuff. Nothing important. Ouch! That tone. Soft on the surface, sharp underneath. I set my mug down and reached for the remote. I can pause the show if you need to check. No, he cut in too quickly. Too sharply, then softened it with a smile. Really, Sam? It's nothing. Sure? Minutes passed. He pretended to watch the show. I pretended not to notice him avoiding my eyes. Then his phone buzzed again. This time I saw the name. Kaylee. His sister? The self-appointed queen of wedding planning. The woman who once told me I didn't fit the family aesthetic. The phone lit up again with a preview. Kaylee. She won't find out. I handled it. My pulse stumbled. Handled what? I didn't ask. Not yet. The words felt too heavy to touch. Instead, I whispered, Jason, is something going on? He froze for a single heartbeat. Then that careful, perfect smile slid back into place, the one he used whenever he wanted to steer me away from the truth. Sam, it's nothing. You're overthinking. But the message kept flashing in my mind. She won't find out. I handled it. Handled what, Kaylee? I pulled the blanket tighter around my shoulders, watching Jason watch the TV without actually seeing it. Something inside me whispered, he's hiding something, and Kaylee's involved. I didn't know it yet, but that message was the first loose thread. And by the next morning, I would wake up to the truth they thought I'd never discover, a truth Jason and Kaylee had already decided I didn't deserve to know. I woke the next morning with a heaviness in my chest I couldn't shake. You ever get that feeling, like something already happened while you were asleep? Jason was already up, standing in the hallway, dressed too neatly for a Saturday morning. Crisp shirt. Perfect hair. Cologne he never wears unless he's seeing his family. Ouch, that was my first sign. Morning, I said softly. He flinched. Just slightly, like he didn't expect me to be awake. Sam, hey. Didn't know you were up. I pulled my robe tighter. Where are you going this early? Just errands, he said. Nothing major. Sure. He grabbed his keys too quickly, pocketed his phone even faster. Then, he hesitated, as if calculating how much truth he could get away with. Actually, Kaylee needs help with some wedding stuff. There it was. The second sign. Wedding stuff. I repeated. For Ethan and Lila's rehearsal? He nodded, eyes darting away. They asked if I could come early. You know how Kaylee gets, she's overwhelmed. I tried to keep my voice even. Well, I can come with you. He froze. No, Sam, it's just a family thing this morning. Ouch, that one stung. A family thing? I repeated. Jason, I am family. Of course you are, he snapped too fast, then softened. I just mean it's mostly planning. You wouldn't enjoy it. Translation. Kaylee doesn't want you there. I felt it. Every word was carefully chosen, trimmed, softened. A lie sanded down so it wouldn't cut too obviously. My throat tightened. Did I do something wrong? I asked quietly. He blinked. Confused for a split second, like he hadn't prepared for that question. No. No, Sam, no, you didn't do anything. He kissed my forehead. Forced. Cold. A gesture for show, not affection. I'll be back later. Don't wait up. He left before I could say another word. The door clicked shut, and my chest cracked. I slid into a chair at the dining table, staring at the wall, trying to convince myself I was imagining all of it. But my eyes drifted toward his charging port. His phone cord was still plugged in. Empty. Jason never, ever left without his phone. Unless he didn't want me to see what was on it. I sat there for almost an hour, replaying his tone, Kaylee's message, the way he fled the house. Then, my phone buzzed. A number I didn't recognize. I let it ring twice before answering. Hello. A woman's voice answered, calm, polite, almost apologetic. Hi, is this Samantha Reeves? Yes, who's calling? This is Lila Moreno, Ethan's fiancée. My heart jumped. Lila. Why would she be calling me? She took a breath. Sam, I don't know how to say this, but something happened this morning. And you really need to hear it from me before Kaylee spins her version. Ouch. My pulse spiked. What happened? Lila swallowed audibly. Your invitation to the rehearsal? Jason told us you weren't coming. And he said, she hesitated. You agreed to give up your planning role. My chest went numb. I whispered. Lila, I never said that. Lila's breath trembled on the other end of the phone. Sam, I don't know how to tell you this. I swallowed hard. Just say it, Lila. Please. She hesitated, long enough for my pulse to start pounding. Kaylee told us you didn't want to be involved anymore. My ribs tightened. She said you were too busy, that you didn't feel close enough to the family, and that you preferred to step aside. Ouch! Every word hit like a slap. Lila, I whispered. None of that is true. I know. Her voice cracked. That's why I'm calling. It didn't feel right. I pressed a hand to my mouth, holding myself together. What exactly did Kaylee say? Lila exhaled shakily. She said the planning group was confusing you, so Jason asked to keep things simpler. And that you didn't mind. My nails dug into my palm. I didn't mind? I repeated. Lila, I paid for half of your engagement catering. I know. She sounded devastated. And that's why we thought the whole thing was weird. There was a pause. Then she said the thing that made everything inside me break. Sam, Kaylee told us you weren't invited to the rehearsal dinner. My heart dropped. She said it would stress you out and you preferred to skip family functions. Ouch! That lie wasn't an accident. It wasn't the misunderstanding. It was a decision. A deliberate cut. Sam? Lila whispered. Are you still there? Yes, I managed, though my throat burned. I'm here. I didn't believe her, she rushed. I told Ethan something wasn't right. I asked if we could call you directly. And what did Ethan say? Jason told him you were upset with us, she said quietly. That you didn't want to be contacted. My breath hitched. He what? He swore you needed space. That you insisted. Space. That's the word Jason always used when he wanted me silent. I sank slowly into a chair. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Lila, I whispered. Jason left the house this morning. He said he was going to help Kaylee with planning. Silence. A long, heavy silence. Then Lila said, Sam, Kaylee told everyone he left to meet the officiant alone. My grip tightened on the phone. They weren't just hiding things from me. They had created an entire narrative where I didn't exist. A story where I was irrelevant, invisible, replaceable. Sam, Lila's voice softened. I think they're trying to cut you out of everything. A tear slipped down my cheek. Why? I whispered. What did I do to them? Lila hesitated again. Then she said the line that flipped my world upside down. I don't know if it's my place to say this, but Kaylee mentioned something about your contribution. My pulse spiked. My contribution? Lila sucked in a breath. She said you wouldn't be getting your $30,000 refund. Ouch. Everything inside me snapped. What refund? The venue deposit. The one you paid. Her voice shook. Kaylee, said Jason told her he'd take care of it. My chest burned. Jason took my money, cut me out, lied to his family, and erased me from an event I was helping fund. But then Lila whispered one more thing. The thing that told me this betrayal went deeper than money. Sam, Kaylee said something else. I wiped my tears. What? She said. Don't worry. She'll never know. Lila's last words clung to my mind like smoke. She said, don't worry. She'll never know. That line told me everything. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't confusion. This wasn't a family miscommunication. This was a plan. A quiet, premeditated plan to erase me. I took a slow, shaky breath. Lila, is there more? Just tell me everything. She hesitated. There is one more thing. But I don't want to hurt you. Ouch. Too late. The hurt was already sitting in my chest like a brick. Say it, I whispered. Lila exhaled. Kaylee told everyone you said you didn't feel close enough to the family anymore and that you prefer not to attend events where you're not needed. My hands clenched. Needed? I repeated. She said, I'm not needed? That's what she told us, Lila said softly. A bitter laugh escaped me. So now I was an optional extra in my own marriage. I steadied my voice as best I could. Lila, did Jason say any of this himself? Or is it all coming from Kaylee? Another heavy silence. Then, it was Jason, she whispered. He said it first. Kaylee just reinforced it. Ouch. That one hurt deeper than I expected. Jason. My husband. The man who held my hand on this couch just last night. The man who said it's nothing with that soft lie voice. He wasn't just letting Kaylee steer things. He was driving. I pressed my hand to my forehead. Lila, I said, please tell me the truth. Did Jason say why he didn't want me there? I heard her swallow. Yes. My pulse pounded. He said, her voice dropped, that you tend to make things about yourself. My throat burned. He what? Lila rushed. Sam, I don't believe that. Not even a little. But that's what he told us. I sat back, stunned. I hadn't caused any scene. I hadn't fought with anyone. I hadn't demanded anything. All I did was love this family, support them, help them, spend my own money to make their events beautiful. And somehow, in Jason's rewritten version of reality, I was the problem. My voice cracked. Lila, thank you for telling me the truth. You didn't owe me this, but you did it anyway. She sounded like she might cry. Sam, I'm so sorry. You've always been kind to me. I didn't want you hurting alone. I closed my eyes. You did the right thing. Sam, she whispered. Yes? There's something else I overheard this morning. Something Jason said. My breath tightened. What did he say? He told Kaylee, it doesn't matter what Sam thinks. She has no power here. The world stopped. No power. No voice. No value. That was the story my husband crafted. But the truth. He had no idea who he was talking about. No idea what I was capable of. No idea what I really controlled. And soon, he would learn the hard way. I sat there in silence long after Lila hung up. Jason's words kept circling my mind like a storm I couldn't outrun. She has no power here. No power? It wasn't just the lie. It wasn't just the disrespect. It was the way he said it. Like I was furniture. Background noise. Something he decided could be erased because it made his life easier. Ouch. That one cut deeper than I expected. I stood slowly, the room tilting just a little as reality settled in. Jason didn't love me. He loved the benefits of being married to me. The woman who always supported him, always showed up, always paid quietly when his family ran short, always smiled, even when Kaylee took verbal jabs. But the moment he wanted convenience, he removed me like a placeholder sticker. My hands shook as I grabbed my coat. I didn't know where I was going yet. I just knew I couldn't sit in that house another second pretending everything was okay. As I stepped outside, cold air hit my face, sharp, grounding. That's when my phone buzzed again. This time, a name that sent a different kind of shiver through me. Margaret Hale, the former CEO. My mentor. The only person who ever looked at me like she saw something bigger behind my quiet personality. I swallowed hard and answered. Margaret. Her warm but firm voice came through immediately. Samantha, dear, are you all right? I nearly laughed. Not even close. I'm managing. Your voice says otherwise, she replied gently. I didn't call without reason. I need to see you today. In my office. It's urgent. Urgent. With Margaret, that word wasn't used lightly. I can be there in an hour. Good, she said. And Sam, whatever storm you're in right now, just know this. The wind is about to change. Ouch! The timing of that statement didn't feel accidental. I hung up, climbed into my car, and drove toward the city. Every mile, the anger settled deeper, but so did clarity. Jason cutting me out? Kaylee lying? Them stealing my contribution? That wasn't the end. It was the beginning. When I walked into Margaret's office, she was already standing, a stack of documents on her desk. Her eyes softened when she saw me. Oh, Sam, I was hoping I'd be wrong. My stomach tightened. Wrong about what? She pressed her lips together. Jason's family. I saw pictures on social media this morning. You weren't at the planning brunch. And I recognized the look on your face the last time we talked. The look of a woman shrinking herself to make others comfortable. My throat thickened. Margaret, they cut me out. They took my money. They lied. She lifted a hand. You don't need to explain. That's why I called you. She slid a folder across the desk. Inside was a company letterhead. My name. A contract. And 2 words that made my heart slam against my ribs. Chief Executive Officer. I blinked. Margaret, what is this? She smiled softly. Sam, I'm retiring, and I choose you. I stared at the contract like it wasn't real. Chief Executive Officer. Those 3 words hit me harder than any betrayal Jason could ever throw. My voice came out small, shaky. Margaret, why me? She gave a soft, knowing smile, the kind only someone who's watched you grow for years can give. Because you're the only one who understands this company from the inside out. Because you're steady, intelligent, and ethical. Because you don't lead loudly, you lead well. Ouch! That line cracked something open inside me. Margaret continued. And because, Sam, someone in this world needs to recognize your worth when others fail to. I swallowed hard. But CEO? Margaret, that's a role you're ready for, she finished. You think I'd hand the reins to someone who wasn't? I blinked quickly to clear the tears building in my eyes. Jason doesn't even know what I really do, I admitted. He thinks I'm just assisting management. Her eyebrows lifted. And that's his mistake. Yeah, It was. I sat down slowly, trying to steady my breath. Margaret, does the board know? They voted last night, she said. Unanimous. My pulse jumped. Unanimous. Not a single person doubted me, except Jason and Kaylee, who didn't even know who I truly was. Margaret leaned forward. This company controls over 200 wedding venues. Every major catering partner. The entire reservation chain for luxury events. And once you sign, she tapped the contract. Everything passes to you. Everything. Every venue Kaylee envied. Every vendor she bragged about booking. Every planner she bullied. Every location she depended on for the wedding. Jason didn't know it, but he had tried to cut out the one person holding every piece of power he needed. Ouch! Irony can be brutal. I exhaled deeply. Margaret, this is huge. I don't even know what to say. You'll know what to say, she said gently. And you'll say it as the woman you've always been, calm, sharp, humble. But before you sign, her voice softened. There's something you should know. My stomach tightened. What is it? Margaret went quiet, too quiet. Sam, someone in the company has been trying to sabotage your rise. My pulse spiked. Who? She slid another folder toward me. Inside was a name printed in bold letters. Riley Cross, Senior VP of Operations. I felt heat rush into my cheeks. Riley, but he's always been polite to me. Helpful. Margaret shook her head. On the surface. But behind closed doors. She exhaled. He's been positioning himself to take the CEO role. And he knows the board didn't choose him. Ouch. So he'll come after me. He'll come fast, she warned. And he'll use whatever leverage he can find, including your personal life. My breath hitched. Margaret. Jason and Kaylee already cut me out of the wedding. Stole my money. Lied about me. Now this. She nodded. Which is exactly why you need to step into your power. Today. I stared at the CEO contract again. Jason said I had no power. Kaylee said I wasn't needed. Riley assumed I'd stay quiet. They all had one thing in common. They underestimated the wrong woman. I picked up the pen, took a steady breath, and signed my name. Walking out of Margaret's office with the signed CEO contract felt surreal, like I had stepped into a version of my life I wasn't supposed to find yet. But maybe this version was the real one all along. Pierce might have called it destiny. Margaret called it readiness. But I just called it unexpected. I stood on the sidewalk for a long moment, clutching the folder, letting the cool city air ground me. Then my phone buzzed. Jason. My stomach tightened. I almost declined the call. Almost. But I pressed accept. Sam, where are you? Jason demanded. No hello. No softness. I'm out, I said calmly. Out where? We need to talk about the family brunch. Family brunch? A brunch he made sure I wasn't invited to? I kept my voice steady. What's there to talk about? Jason sighed dramatically. The performance sigh he used whenever he wanted to make me feel unreasonable. Sam, Kaylee feels like you're not supportive enough. She said you seem distant. I told her you're just overwhelmed. Ouch. The gaslighting was so clean it almost sounded believable. You told her I was overwhelmed? I repeated. Jason, you stole my money. I didn't steal anything, he snapped. I redirected the deposit so Kaylee could. Redirected? I cut in. Jason, it was MY money. And you told them I didn't want to come. He went silent. A dangerous, calculating silence. Then, Sam, he said slowly, don't make this bigger than it needs to be. You're emotional. And Kaylee thinks. I don't care what Kaylee thinks. He sucked in a breath. I could practically hear his ego cracking. Where are you? He demanded again. Busy. Doing what? I hesitated then answered truthfully. Becoming someone you're not prepared for. Jason froze. What's that supposed to mean? You'll find out, I said softly. Before he could bark another question, I ended the call. For the first time in a long time, I felt my spine straighten. I drove to headquarters, my headquarters now, and stepped into the sleek lobby. Employees smiled politely as I passed, unaware I was their new CEO. But Riley Cross. He knew. He was waiting near the elevators like a shadow pretending to be human. His smile was professional but too tight. Too perfect. Sam, he greeted, stepping forward. I heard Margaret wanted to see you. Big day. Careful? He was fishing. Yes, I said evenly. Very big. His eyes flicked to the folder in my hand. Did she tell you the news? She did. Riley nodded slowly, eyes narrowing, calculating. Then, I suppose congratulations are in order. He extended his hand. CEO Reeves. Ouch, he said it kindly, but his grip tightened just enough to feel like a warning. And his eyes. They were already planning his next move. Riley's handshake lingered a second too long. Firm, polite, practiced, but cold enough to frost steel. A classic corporate predator. When he finally released my hand, He gave that empty smile men like him wear when they're calculating 10 steps ahead. So, he said lightly, big changes happening today. Margaret stepping down so suddenly, quite the surprise, isn't it? I met his gaze steadily. Surprises happen? He tilted his head slightly. Not in this company. Not unless someone planned them. Ouch! A threat dipped in honey. He stepped toward the elevator, expecting me to follow like I always had. Not anymore. I walked past him instead. Straight. Confident. Silent. His jaw tightened for a split second, so fast most people would have missed it. Not me. Inside the elevator, he leaned against the railing and said casually, "You know, Sam, CEO roles come with heavy expectations. Public accountability. Media pressure. Investor scrutiny. I'm aware. And personal stability is very important," he added. Unpredictable home situations reflect poorly on leadership. There it was. He had done his homework. "Riley," I said quietly, "is that your way of asking about my marriage?" He smirked. "Just making sure you're steady enough for the role. My personal life is none of your concern." He said softly, "but now you're CEO. That means every part of you is public interest." Ouch. Subtle. Sharp. Targeted. The elevator doors opened to the executive floor. Riley stepped out first, then paused. "One more thing," he added casually. "I noticed a refund request came through this morning. A wedding deposit? From your personal account." My blood chilled. He knew. Jason had tried to refund the $30,000 under my name. Riley continued. I denied it. Too many red flags. But it made me curious. Curious how? I asked slowly. He gave a thin smile. "Well, Sam, what CEO loses $30,000 to a husband who doesn't respect her?" Ouch. That one hit. Hard. I didn't respond. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. He leaned closer. "If you need help managing your household, I'd be happy to advise." I stepped back. "Riley, do yourself a favor," I said softly. "Stop assuming you know anything about my household." His smile slipped. "You'll find," I added, "that people underestimate me only once." There it was. The flicker. The first crack in his corporate mask. He straightened. "Well then, CEO Reeves, welcome to the battlefield." He walked away. I exhaled slowly, steadying myself. I had 2 wars now. One at home. One at work. And both men, Jason and Riley, had no idea I had already decided something. I wasn't fighting on their terms anymore. Just then my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You should know what Jason told the groomsmen group chat." My stomach tightened. Ouch. Then another message came through. "Check your email. You won't believe it." My hands shook as I stared at the unknown number on my screen. "Check your email. You won't believe it." My stomach tightened, but not with fear anymore. With certainty. Because deep down, I already knew Jason had said something unforgivable. I walked quickly toward my new office, closed the door, locked it, and sat down. My fingers hovered over the keyboard for a second before I pulled up my inbox. There it was. Subject line. Groomsmen group, you need to see this. Ouch. Even the subject felt like a warning. I clicked. The thread opened. And the first thing I saw was Jason's name at the top. His message wasn't long, but it didn't need to be. Jason Reeves. Don't worry about Sam coming to the rehearsal. I told her she isn't invited. She's too sensitive and would ruin the vibe. Plus, she's not close with our family, anyway. My pulse spiked, my vision blurred. But it got worse. Another message from him, sent minutes later. Jason Reeves. Also, I got her to hand over the $30,000 deposit. Women sign anything when you make them feel guilty. Easy. My breath caught in my throat. Women sign anything. Easy. A tremor ran through my entire body. Then a third message, the one that knocked the breath out of me. Jason Reeves. Honestly, she's dead weight. Kaylee's right. Sam should just sit this one out. The wedding will be better without her energy. We all know how she gets. Ouch. The betrayal wasn't quiet anymore. It was published. Shared. Mocked. Discussed behind my back by men I'd fed, hosted, supported. Anger didn't even describe what I felt. This was humiliation. Public. Calculated. Huh? I scrolled down to the message from the unknown number, the one who had forwarded this to me. It read, "He crossed a line. You deserve to know who he really is." No name. No signature. Just truth sent by someone who had finally reached their limit with him. I leaned back slowly, breathing hard. My heartbeat wasn't racing from sadness anymore. It was settling. Steady. Focused. Sharp. A switch inside me flipped, that cold, quiet switch that activates when a woman stops begging to be respected. Jason thought I was easy. Jason thought guilt controlled me. Jason thought I'd stay silent. Jason thought I had no power. He didn't know the timing of his betrayal was the worst possible moment. Because at that exact moment, I was the CEO of the entire event corporation controlling his brother's wedding. He just didn't know it yet. I pulled up another email, one I had been saving unopened. "Welcome to your new role, CEO Transition Procedures." I clicked it. Pierce wasn't wrong. Margaret wasn't wrong. Kaylee wasn't wrong either. Ironically, I wasn't the woman they thought I was. Not anymore. Not ever again. I whispered to myself, "Jason, you just fired the wrong woman from your life." Just then, a notification flashed on my screen. A calendar invite. From Riley. Title: Emergency Leadership Meeting, Wedding Division. The subject line alone told me Jason's betrayal wasn't the only crisis coming my way. Riley's calendar invite glowed on my screen like a trap. Emergency Leadership Meeting, Wedding Division. He didn't just want to talk.
He wanted to corner me.
I stood, smoothed my blouse, and walked down the executive hallway, my hallway now, heels clicking in slow, steady rhythm. Employees glanced up as I passed. Some nodded, respectful. Others looked confused, unsure why I was walking with the posture of someone who belonged at the very top. Because I did. When I entered the conference room, Riley was already there, sleeves rolled up, posture relaxed, fake smile perfectly polished. He stood when I walked in. "Sam," he said with that too smooth tone, "thank you for joining so quickly." I sat across from him, calm, collected. "What's the emergency?" Riley tapped a folder on the table. "It's about the Reeves-Moreno wedding. We have issues." There it was. He was going to use Jason's wedding to attack my leadership. "What kind of issues?" I asked. Riley clasped his hands. "Well, it seems there was a misfiled deposit, a missing signature, a few complaints from the groom's family." He paused, dramatic. "They claim you weren't cooperative." Ouch! He was trying to paint me as the problem. I kept my voice soft but razor sharp. Funny, considering I wasn't invited to any planning discussions. He blinked once. Just once. Then he leaned back with a thoughtful expression. "Well," Jason said. I don't care what Jason said. His eyebrows shot up. He wasn't expecting that. "I care about facts," I continued. "And the fact is, your division lost track of a $30,000 deposit made through a CEO's personal account." Riley's smile cracked. "And the fact is," I added, leaning forward, "that any mismanagement falls under your responsibility, not mine." That one hit him. He shifted in his seat. "Sam, this is sensitive. Maybe you should step back from this event, just until things blow over." There it was. His real goal. He wanted the CEO out of the one event where I held personal leverage. I tilted my head slightly. "Riley, are you suggesting I recuse myself from a division I now oversee?" "I'm suggesting," he said, "that your involvement could be seen as a conflict of interest." Ouch. He was trying to shove me out of my own authority. but I smiled, slowly, intentionally. Then you're going to love what I'm about to say. Riley frowned. What? I'm assuming full control of all executive decisions involving this wedding. His eyebrows shot up so high they practically left his face. You can't do that. I just did. Riley leaned forward, lowering his voice. Sam, you're letting personal feelings cloud judgment. This will look bad. I tapped the folder he'd brought. Then maybe your division should stop making mistakes with MY money. Silence. Heavy. Cold. Stunning. Riley swallowed hard, recalibrating. You're not the same person you were last month, he murmured. You're damn right I wasn't. I stood. This meeting is over. I expect all updates routed through me directly. Riley didn't move. But he spoke one low, chilling sentence. Jason won't like that. I didn't flinch. He should have thought about that before he underestimated me. I left the conference room with my heartbeat pounding in my ears, not from fear, but from clarity. The kind of clarity that only comes when a woman finally stops shrinking. I walked down the executive hallway toward my new office. But before I reached it, my phone buzzed. Jason. Again. Ouch. Of course it was. I debated ignoring him, but something inside me whispered. Answer? See who he really is today. I picked up. Sam. He snapped immediately. Where have you been? Kaylee said you didn't show up for the tasting. Everyone's asking where you are. I blinked slowly. The tasting I wasn't invited to? Silence. Then Jason forced a laugh. Sam, don't start. You're being dramatic. There it was, the classic dismissal card. I'm not being dramatic, I said softly. I'm being factual. Jason let out a frustrated huff. Look, I told them you're emotional lately. It's not a big deal. Just show up tonight and smile. Don't make things difficult. My jaw tightened. Difficult? I repeated. Jason, you told people I was dead weight. He froze. I what? You told your groomsmen I would ruin the vibe. You bragged about manipulating me out of money. You said your family was better off without me. Another silence. Longer. Sharper. Then he stammered. Sam, who told you that? The truth always shows up, I replied. He exhaled hard, voice rising. Okay, you know what? This is exactly what I meant. You take everything personally. You blow things out of proportion. Ouch. Gaslighting level, expert. Jason, I said quietly, you lied to your brother. You lied to Lila. You lied to me. His tone hardened. And you're being ungrateful. My family has welcomed you. They tolerated me. I cut in. Until it was convenient not to. Jason scoffed. You're making a mess of this. Kaylee says the wedding team is refusing to confirm some bookings, and she thinks you did something. I paused. Interesting. Maybe, I said calmly, your family is learning that actions have consequences. He snapped. Sam, enough. My brother needs this wedding to go smoothly. Don't make this about you. Projection at its finest. I'm not making it about me, I said. You did that the moment you stole from me and erased me. Jason's voice sharpened. Where are you right now? I'm coming to get you. We're fixing this. I almost laughed. No, Jason. I'm busy. Busy with what? I let the silence stretch. Delicious, powerful, controlled. Then I said it. Work? He scoffed. Work. Sam, you're an assistant. You don't have urgent work. Ouch! I smiled slowly, even though he couldn't see it. Jason, I'm not your assistant, and I never was. What does that even mean? You'll find out tonight, I murmured. And trust me, you won't like it. Jason snapped. Samantha, don't play games with me. I'm not playing, I said softly. I'm preparing. Preparing for what? I took a breath. For the moment you learn who I really am. Then I hung up. For the first time in our entire marriage, leaving Jason with silence felt like freedom. The moment I hung up on Jason, I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. That felt good. Not petty. Not harsh. Not impulsive. Just right. I walked deeper into the executive floor, letting the weight of my new authority settle into my spine. I wasn't the Sam he could manipulate anymore. And today, he was about to discover exactly how badly he'd underestimated me. I had barely reached my office when a flurry of footsteps echoed down the hallway. Fast, frantic, irritated. Then a voice I recognized all too well shrieked. "Where is the person in charge?" Ouch. Kaylee? Of course. She stormed through the glass doors like a tornado in heels. Her hair was curled too tightly. Her makeup was melting from either stress or rage, probably both. Her eyes scanned the lobby, wild and desperate. Behind her, 2 junior planners rushed to keep up, arms full of binders and color swatches. "Ma'am," one tried to say. "Don't ma'am me," Kaylee snapped. "I want the director of events right now." The receptionist pointed cautiously toward my office. Kaylee stomped in that direction, muttering curses under her breath. I stepped out just as she was about to collide with the door. Her eyes widened. "Sam." I smiled politely. "Good morning, Kaylee." She blinked hard, thrown off by my calm tone. "What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be at home? Jason said you were having some emotional spiral." Of course he did. "I'm at work," I said evenly, "where adults handle their responsibilities." Her jaw tightened. "I need to speak to someone higher than you," she snapped. "Your division is messing everything up. Venues aren't confirming. Caterers aren't responding. And don't get me started on the floral team." She shoved a folder at me. "Fix this." I didn't move. "I can't fix what doesn't concern me." "It does concern you," she yelled. "This is Ethan's wedding, my family, and you're making everything worse." A soft laugh escaped me. "Ouch," she flinched. "Kaylee," I said gently, "I haven't been part of the wedding since you cut me out." "That was a misunderstanding," she snapped. "You're too sensitive." "Am I?" I asked. She huffed. "Look, Jason told me you're upset, but we don't have time for your feelings. Just tell your boss to stop messing with our vendors." There it was. "Which boss?" I asked. "The director," she said impatiently. "The VP, the CEO, whoever runs this mess. I want to speak to that person." I tilted my head slightly. "You sure?" "Yes," she barked. "Bring me the person in charge." I didn't blink, didn't flinch, didn't smile. I just said, "You're speaking to her." Kaylee froze. "What?" "I'm the CEO, Kaylee." Silence. She stared at me like I'd just spoken in another language. "No, you're lying. I signed the contract this morning." Her face drained of color. You're running this entire company?" "Yes." Her knees wobbled. But Jason said." "I know what Jason said." Her voice cracked. "Sam, what did you do?" I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "Kaylee, I haven't done anything yet." Kaylee's face went paper white. You're the CEO?" Her words stumbled out like she didn't trust her own mouth. "Oh, yes." It was sinking in. I folded my arms calmly. "That's correct." Her jaw opened, closed, then opened again, like a fish gasping for air. But that's impossible," she stammered. "You're just..." She stopped herself. But I knew exactly how that sentence was supposed to end. "You're just Sam. You're just the quiet one. You're just the woman in the background. You're just the one we walk over." Ouch! Not anymore. "I'm exactly who Margaret chose," I said softly. And she was right. Kaylee swallowed so hard her earrings trembled. "Sam, I think you're confused," Jason said. Jason didn't know. I cut in. He still doesn't. Her hands shook. Does Ethan know?" "No." "Does Mom know?" "No." She gaped. "Then who does know?" I gave her a single, sharp look. You do. Now try not to waste the privilege. Kaylee stepped back like she'd been slapped. I didn't mean any of the things I said earlier, she whispered. I was stressed. I was overwhelmed. You know how wedding planning can be. I raised one eyebrow. Do I? She froze again. It was almost too easy watching the gears in her mind collapse. Sam P, please don't be angry, she begged. I didn't know who you were. If I had known. And that's the problem, I said quietly. You only respect people when you know their title. Ouch! Truth hurts. I stepped past her and walked toward the window overlooking the entire city. You lied about me, I said without turning around. More than once. Sam. You took my money. She flinched. You told Ethan and Lila I wasn't coming. Sam, listen. And you made sure Jason excluded me from every decision. Kaylee's breathing hitched. Sam, I'm sorry. I swear I'm sorry. Just don't ruin the wedding. Please. I finally turned to face her. I'm not here to ruin anything, I said softly. She sagged with relief. Unless someone forces my hand. Her relief evaporated instantly. Sam, what does that mean? I now oversee every vendor, every venue, every contract connected to your wedding, I said calmly. So, yes, your fate is in my hands. But I'm not like you. I don't destroy things out of spite. She closed her eyes in relief. But I will stop anyone who tries to use me. The color drained from her face again. Sam, Jason's going to freak out. Jason created this mess, I replied. And he's going to learn the cost of cutting me out. Kaylee stepped forward, voice trembling. What are you going to do? I didn't smile. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't threaten. I simply said the truth. Her eyes widened with terror. Then her phone buzzed. She looked down and gasped. Oh no, Sam, you need to see this. Kaylee stood frozen, staring at her phone like it had just delivered a death sentence. Her face drained completely. Sam, she whispered, voice trembling. You really need to see this. Panic like that doesn't come from an email or a text. It comes from something bigger. Much bigger? I stepped forward slowly. What happened? She swallowed hard, turned her phone toward me, and my breath caught. A breaking news headline glowed across the screen in bold red letters. Luxury event company cancels 12 weddings. Internal fraud investigation underway. Ouch. The article preview beneath it read, sources claim a high-level employee approved fraudulent transfers, mismanaged deposits, and manipulated couples into paying inflated fees. Kaylee looked up at me, horrified. Sam, is this about you? My jaw tightened. No, but I know exactly who it's about. Her eyebrows nodded. Who? I exhaled slowly. Jason. Kaylee's mouth fell open. No, Sam. That can't be right. It is, I said quietly. Jason redirected my $30,000 into a personal account. He's likely done it before. And now the system caught him. Kaylee's knees wobbled. He couldn't, stealing from weddings. Sam, that's career-ending. Yes. Yes, it was. Kaylee, I said, your brother has been using the company platform for months to skim off deposits. Mine was just the one he was sloppy with. She shook her head violently. No, Jason wouldn't risk something that stupid. Then why did he brag about manipulating me out of money? I asked softly. Why did he write, women sign anything when you make them feel guilty? Ouch! She winced so hard her whole body jerked. I continued. And why did he claim he'd redirected the deposit? Jason knew exactly what he was doing. Kaylee's breathing turned shallow. But Sam, if the company is investigating this. Her voice cracked. He could get arrested. I didn't answer. She stared at me with a sinking realization. You knew, she whispered. You knew something was happening. That's why you were so calm. I didn't deny it. I didn't know about the other weddings, I said. But I knew about mine. And I knew someone would eventually connect the dots. Kaylee pressed a shaking hand to her forehead. This is bad. Sam, this is so bad. If the investigation expands and finds his name. It already has, I said. Her eyes snapped up. How do you know? Because I'm the CEO, I replied quietly. And fraud protection alerts go directly to me. Kaylee staggered backward. Oh my God. Jason is finished. I didn't speak. She whispered, Sam, you're not going to protect him, are you? I looked at her, really looked at her. At the woman who mocked me, excluded me, stole my money, called me not needed, helped Jason erase me. And now she was asking for mercy. No, Kaylee, I said softly. I'm not going to protect him. Her breath hitched. But you're going to tell him something worse, she whispered. I nodded. I am. What? She asked shakily. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. That I'm the one reviewing the evidence file. Kaylee's eyes widened in terror. Sam, he's going to lose everything. I didn't flinch. He took everything from me first. For a long moment after Kaylee's whisper, the hallway felt unbearably still. Sam, he's going to lose everything, she repeated, voice barely a breath. She wasn't wrong. But she wasn't innocent either. I stepped past her, heading toward my office. Kaylee scrambled after me. Sam, wait, please, just listen. Jason made mistakes, but he's family. You can't let them. I stopped and turned slowly. Kaylee, Jason made choices. Not mistakes. Choices. Ouch. Her face twisted. But arrest? Career destruction? Public humiliation? That's too far. Too far. I echoed softly. Like cutting me out of every wedding decision? Like lying about me to your entire family? Like stealing from me? Or telling the groomsmen I was dead weight? She winced again. Sam, I didn't mean, you meant every word. She fell quiet. I walked into my office, and she followed like a guilty shadow. The moment I sat down behind my new CEO desk, my email pinged. A single notification. Fraud analysis summary, Reeves, Jason. Perfect timing. I clicked the file. Kaylee strained to see, but I tilted the screen away. Her voice cracked. What does it say? I scrolled down slowly. It says, I read quietly that Jason has processed at least 7 questionable transactions over the last 4 months. Kaylee's gasp was sharp and real. 7. Yes. Click. Next page. And it says each one was tied to a different couple, most of whom reported missing deposits or unexpected adjustments. Her hands flew to her mouth. Oh my God. I kept scrolling. It also says Jason used access credentials he wasn't authorized to have. Sam, stop please, she begged. I can't listen to this. I ignored her. And it says, I continued, that the fraud team flagged his name for priority investigation. Kaylee sank slowly into the chair opposite me. I told him to stop messing with payments, she whispered. I told him, but he said he had it under control. He said you'd never find out. Ouch! That sentence was a knife disguised as sympathy. I closed the file. Kaylee, this investigation is no longer personal. It's legal, internal, corporate. Her eyes filled with panic. Then what happens now? I leaned back. Protocol requires I meet with the fraud committee. Today. She covered her face. No, this can't be happening. If the board sees this, Jason will be fired. Kaylee, I said gently, Jason fired himself the moment he betrayed me. Silence. Then her phone buzzed. She looked down and went completely still. Sam, she whispered, shaking. Jason knows. My heart steadied. How? He texted me. He said one of the groomsmen saw the article and sent it to him. Her breathing turned fast and shallow. He's on his way here, Sam. Right now. He's coming to the office. I stood slowly. Kaylee's eyes widened. Sam, what are you going to do? I straightened my spine. What I should have done a long time ago. I'm going to let him walk into the truth. Kaylee's words hung in the air like smoke. Jason's coming here right now. Good. Let him. Let him walk into the one place he never expected me to belong. The one place where his lies couldn't shield him. I closed the fraud file, stood up, and straightened my blazer. Kaylee watched me with haunted eyes. Sam, please don't destroy him. He's my brother. I held her gaze. He destroyed himself, Kaylee. You just helped him load the ammunition. Ouch, she flinched. Seconds later, the echo of footsteps thundered down the executive hallway. Heavy. Fast. Furious. Jason burst into the lobby like a storm looking for a target. Employees looked up from their desks, startled. He scanned the room until his eyes landed on me. His jaw clenched.
Sam, we need to talk. Now.
I didn't move. Then talk. He stormed toward me, not caring who watched, who heard, or who saw his mask cracking. What the hell is this article? He snapped. Why are people messaging me? Why is my phone blowing up? I kept my voice calm. Because you were caught. He froze. What did you say? You were caught, I repeated.
Fraud.
Misuse of funds. Unauthorized transactions. Jason's face reddened instantly. That's ridiculous. Someone set me up.
Who?
I asked softly. Me. He swallowed. Looked away. Didn't answer. Exactly? I stepped closer. Jason, the fraud team opened a case with your name on it. And I am the one reviewing the evidence. His eyes widened. You. Why you? I let the silence linger. Let the truth simmer between us. Then I said the words that shattered his world. Because I'm the CEO of this company. Jason stared at me like reality had slapped him. You're what? CEO? I repeated. I signed the contract this morning. His mouth fell open.
No.
No, Sam, no. That's impossible. You're an assistant. You're not good enough. I finished for him.
Ouch.
His flinch was instant. I didn't mean. You meant every word you said. I cut in. Every insult. Every lie. Every time you told someone I wasn't needed. Jason's voice cracked. Sam, you can't be CEO. That job. That's too big for you. I smiled faintly. Jason, I've been doing half that work for years. You just never noticed. He ran a hand through his hair, panic setting in. Sam, listen, if you're CEO, then this investigation. Yes, I said softly. It falls under me. His face strained. Sam, you can't let them fire me. I'll lose everything. You should have thought about that, I whispered, before you gambled with my trust and my money. He stepped closer. Sam, I'm your husband. I lifted my chin. And I was your wife. Past tense. Jason inhaled sharply. Don't do this, he whispered. Don't turn on me. I met his eyes, steady, calm, done. I'm not turning on you, Jason. I'm finally turning toward myself. And before he could respond, security stepped out of the elevator. Mr. Reeves? The board would like to speak with you. Kaylee gasped. Jason looked at me, horror filling his eyes. Sam, did you tell them? I didn't blink. No, Jason, your actions did. Jason looked like a man walking toward his own grave as security guided him toward the boardroom. Kaylee followed a few steps behind, whispering frantic prayers under her breath. I walked last. Calm, steady, certain. I had spent years being quiet so Jason could feel loud. Not anymore. When the boardroom doors closed behind us, the air shifted, heavy with consequence. Jason tried to sit next to me. I moved one seat over. Ouch! The small rejection hit him harder than anything I could have said. The board members took their places. Riley slipped in as well, his expression neutral but his eyes gleaming, waiting for chaos he could use. The chairwoman cleared her throat. Mr. Reeves, we have several matters to address. Jason forced a charming smile, The same one that fooled people for years. Look, I think there's been a misunderstanding. The chairwoman lifted a hand. No interruptions. We will present the evidence. You will listen. Jason's face twitched. He wasn't used to being told to be quiet. The fraud investigator opened a folder. Mr. Reeves, we have traced 7 unauthorized adjustments to client payments using your login credentials. Jason's jaw dropped open. That's impossible. Someone stole my password. We have IP logs. The investigator's tone was ice. All access came from your devices. Ouch! Kaylee covered her mouth. Jason started to sweat. Okay. Maybe I forgot to log out once. But the investigator wasn't finished. And we have chat messages. Jason froze. Chat messages? Yes, the investigator said, sliding printed pages across the table. Your conversation with the groomsman regarding manipulating your wife into signing away money. Jason tried to snatch the papers, but the chairwoman tapped the table sharply. Mr. Reeves, sit. He sat. Shaking? I kept my gaze fixed forward, not smug, not cruel, just done. The investigator continued. You also redirected funds intended for the Reeves-Moreno wedding and created a personal savings account under your wife's name. Jason spun toward me.
Sam.
I can explain. I finally met his eyes. No, you can't. His breath hitched. Riley leaned forward slightly, voice smooth and venomous. It's fortunate for the company that Ms. Reeves caught this early before it escalated further. Jason glared at him, betrayed. You knew, he snapped. You knew Sam wasn't just some assistant. Riley smirked. Of course I knew. Unlike you, I pay attention. The room tensed. The chairwoman closed the file. Mr. Reeves, based on the evidence, the board unanimously recommends immediate suspension, pending termination. Jason's whole body shook. No, please, listen, this is a misunderstanding, Sam, help me. You're the CEO now, right? You can fix this. Everyone turned to me. I inhaled softly. Then said the words I never thought I'd say. Jason, for years I protected you. But I will not protect the man who tried to destroy me. His face crumbled. Ouch! Kaylee sobbed quietly. The chairwoman nodded. Mr. Reeves, please step outside while we finalize. Jason stood slowly, broken, pale, defeated. As he reached the door, he whispered without looking back. Sam, you were supposed to be on my side. I whispered back. I was, until you left me alone on yours. He walked out. The moment Jason stepped out, the boardroom settled into a cold, echoing silence. Kaylee sat trembling in the corner, mascara streaking down her cheeks. The fraud investigator gathered documents. The chairwoman whispered to another board member. And Riley. Riley leaned back in his chair like a man watching a storm he ordered from the sky. He glanced at me, slowly, deliberately, his expression unreadable. He was calculating, because for Riley, Jason's downfall wasn't just justice. It was opportunity. After a moment, the chairwoman turned to me. Ms. Reeves, she said gently, we'll need you to oversee the continuation of this investigation. I nodded calmly. Of course. Jason's collapse wasn't something I celebrated. It wasn't triumph. It wasn't revenge. It was the consequence of a man who gambled with the wrong woman. And yet, I could feel Riley's gaze burning into the side of my face. Waiting. Watching. Hunting. Once the meeting adjourned, the board members began filing out. Kaylee slipped past me without meeting my eyes, grief-stricken, confused, angry at everyone, including herself. But Riley stayed seated. Calm. Still. Predictable. He waited until the door clicked shut behind the last member. Then he stood and smoothed his tie. Well, he murmured. That was brutal. Ouch! His tone wasn't sympathetic. It was hungry. I straightened my posture. What do you want, Riley? He gave a soft chuckle. Come now, Sam. Don't be so cold. I simply wanted to check in. On what? You? I narrowed my eyes. Riley clasped his hands behind his back and began pacing slowly, like a professor giving a lecture. You handled yourself well today. Very well, actually. He paused, almost like someone trained for this. What's your point? Riley stopped pacing and faced me fully. My point is, he tilted his head. Today showed me exactly how vulnerable you are. My heartbeat slowed, not in fear, but in focus. Vulnerable, I echoed. Yes, he said smoothly. Emotionally burdened, distracted, personally entangled in the very event your company is managing. Ouch. There it was. His angle. You're suggesting I'm unfit, I said calmly. I'm suggesting, he replied, stepping closer, that the board might view this situation as unfavorably. I held his gaze. And you're hoping they hand the CEO role to you. A slow smile curved across his mouth. Now you're catching on. He leaned in slightly. With the right narrative, Sam, I could convince the board that you're overwhelmed, that your personal life compromises your leadership, that Jason's scandal reflects poorly on your judgment. My jaw tightened. Riley, I said, don't mistake what happened today for weakness. He chuckled under his breath. But it is weakness, Sam. And weakness, he whispered, is the crack I need. I stepped forward until we were inches apart. Careful, I murmured. Cracks cut both ways. He paused, then smirked. We'll see. Just then, my phone buzzed. A new message. From Lila. Sam, you need to come to the hotel. Something's gone wrong. Really wrong. Riley raised an eyebrow. Problems already? I ignored him. Because Lila's second message hit like a punch. Kaylee just blamed you in front of the entire bridal party. Ouch! I grabbed my bag. The war wasn't just at the office anymore. It was exploding at the wedding. The drive to the hotel felt like moving through thick fog, every breath tight, every thought sharper than I wanted it to be. Lila's message kept replaying in my head. Kaylee just blamed you in front of the entire bridal party. Blamed me. For what? The moment I stepped foot into the Grand Hotel lobby, the one my company owned, though no one here knew it yet, I heard the shouting. Kaylee. Of course. Her voice carried through the marble atrium like a siren no one wanted to hear. I'm telling you, she ruined everything, she screamed. SHE sabotaged the planners. SHE messed up the booking system. SHE started the fraud mess. Ouch! She wasn't just scrambling. She was drowning. And dragging me down was her only life raft. A small crowd had gathered. Bridesmaids, groomsmen, vendors, staff, guests checking in early. All eyes were on her. And then, all eyes shifted to me. Kaylee's face twisted when she saw me. Oh, look who finally showed up, she spat. The problem? I stayed calm. Kaylee, I said softly. What are you doing? What am I doing? She threw her hands in the air. I'm trying to save this wedding from the disaster you caused. She was unraveling publicly. A few bridesmaids stared at her, wide-eyed. Lila looked pale. Ethan pinched the bridge of his nose like he was seconds from collapsing. I stepped closer. What exactly did I do? Kaylee pointed at me like she wanted the universe to witness her victimhood. You made the vendors cancel. You made the venue glitch. You made everyone think we were incompetent. I blinked slowly. Kaylee, I didn't cancel anything. Yes, you did, she screamed. The company said the problem came from the CEO's division. Lila whispered urgently, Kaylee, stop. But she didn't. And guess who suddenly thinks she's a boss? She shrieked. Sam. Sweet, quiet Sam. I bet she pushed some buttons just to spite us. I let her rant. Let her drown in her own noise. Then I spoke, calm as ice. Kaylee, do you want the truth? She laughed. Mean. Shrill. Terrified. Oh, now she wants to tell the truth. The entire lobby went silent. I looked around the room, slow, deliberate. I didn't cancel your vendors, I said. I didn't manipulate anything. I didn't create any chaos. Liar, Kaylee shouted. I continued, unmoved. But I know who did. Her face froze. And I know why. The crowd leaned in. Bridesmaids stopped breathing. Groomsmen exchanged confused looks. Even the hotel manager stepped closer. Kaylee swallowed. Sam, don't. Lila whispered. Sam, tell them. I nodded. My husband, I said clearly, stole money from multiple wedding accounts, including this one. He redirected deposits using credentials he wasn't authorized to have. Gasps exploded through the lobby. Jason, who had just walked in behind me, froze like he'd been punched. And because he did, I continued. The fraud division locked down the entire system. Not me. Not the company. Not the vendors. I stepped closer to Kaylee. Your brother caused this. Ouch! Kaylee staggered back. No, Sam, he wouldn't, Jason jumped forward. Sam, stop. You're blowing this out of... I held up a hand, and the room fell quiet. Jason Reeves, I said, is currently under investigation. He has been suspended for fraud, and he is the reason this wedding nearly collapsed. Kaylee's breathing turned shallow. Lila gasped behind her. Ethan's face went pale. Jason shook his head violently. Sam, don't do this. But I wasn't done. And in case anyone questions whether I have the authority to make that statement, I looked around the room. I am the new CEO of the company running this entire hotel, the catering, the venues, the vendors, and every booking connected to this event. Silence. Then, a collective, stunned wow rippled through the lobby. Jason's knees nearly buckled. Kaylee let out a tiny, broken sob. Lila whispered, Sam, oh my God. I inhaled slowly. This was the moment Jason feared most. The moment Kaylee never imagined. The moment I finally stepped into my own power. For a long moment, nobody moved. The lobby stayed frozen in one collective heartbeat, eyes wide, breath shallow, the whole room stunned into silence. Then Jason stepped forward, voice cracking under the weight of everything crashing around him. Sam, please listen, we can fix this. Just don't say anything else in front of them. Please. There it was. Not remorse. Not accountability. Just fear. Fear of losing his image. Fear of losing control. Fear of being exposed by the woman he thought would never raise her voice. I faced him fully. No, Jason, I said quietly. I'm not protecting your reputation anymore. His eyes shook. I messed up, okay? But I didn't mean to hurt you. Ouch. That line again. You meant every decision, I replied. Every lie. Every message. Every time you used me, because it was convenient. Jason reached for my hand. I stepped back. Sam, please. I can't lose my job, my family, my standing. Jason, I whispered. You lost me before today. His expression collapsed. For a moment, he looked like he wanted to argue. But there was nothing left to argue with. Lila stepped closer, voice soft. Sam, I'm proud of you. Ethan nodded silently in agreement. Even the bridesmaids watched me with something like shock and respect. But Kaylee sank into a chair, defeated, whispering over and over. I didn't know. Maybe she didn't know the details. But she knew enough. I turned to the room. I'm not here to ruin a wedding, I said. I'm here because I refuse to let myself be used or erased. Not anymore. Soft murmurs rippled through the crowd. Agreement, awe, maybe even admiration. Then I looked back at Jason, who stood in the ruins of his own making. Security will escort you out of the property, I said gently. Until the investigation is complete, you are banned from all company locations. Jason blinked fast, like he was trying to wake up from a nightmare. Sam, don't do this. I already did, I whispered. Security approached him. This time, he didn't fight. He didn't argue. He didn't look back. He just let them lead him away. When the doors closed, The lobby exhaled. All at once. Kaylee wiped her face. Sam?
I'm sorry. For everything.
Truly. I nodded. Then learn from it, Kaylee. Respect people before you know their titles. Her chin trembled as she nodded back. I turned to the staff, the planners, the bridal party. The wedding will go on as scheduled. My team will make sure everything is perfect. Lila whispered, Sam, you saved the whole day. I smiled softly. No, Lila, I saved myself. I walked toward the exit, heels steady, heart steady, future steady. Behind me, someone whispered, wow, that woman is a force. And maybe, for the first time, I believed it. The story ends here. Before you go, share one thing in the comments. Which moment stood out the most to you in this story? If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story the moment it's released.